Fasten your seatbelts. He plays Dwight, Austin Emilio. Father Gabriel is here, Seth Gilliam. Rosita Espinoza is here, Christian Serrato. She plays Tara Chandler, Alana Masterson. Aaron is here, Ross Marquand. Rockin' the mullet, Eugene Porter. Josh McDermott. Maggie Ree. Lauren Cohen. His character name is Paul Rovia, but you know him as Jesus, Tom Payne. Sasha Williams is here, Shaniqua Martin Green. Carol. Melissa McBride. Rick freaking Grimes. Andrew Lincoln. Executive producer, director extraordinaire, Greg Nicotero. Executive producer extraordinaire, Dave Alpert. Executive producer and the man behind the comic book, Robert Kirkman. Executive producer, incredible Scott M. Gimple. So Scott, I wanted to start off with you and thanking you for really putting us through the ringer this season.
Sorry?
What is...
No apologies.
No apologies. What has this season represented in terms of where we've been and where we are now?
The first episode, was a trifle traumatic for you guys and for everybody here. My mother. And to get from that point to a point where these characters can smile again. Now, granted, that smile is about the prospect of, kicking maybe his ass.
Yeah.
And I mean Austin. But no, that was legit. It was seeing these people come alive again and earning the place where they are now.
I want to also talk about the elephant that's not in the room tonight, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who is... And please talk about what he...
I'm working on it.
Talk about what he has brought to the show and sort of his contribution in terms of just bringing just such exquisite evil to all of these people.
Well, I think Greg can speak to this too. We had Jeffrey for 2 nights during 6/16, which was the finale last year. And Jeffrey had to come out in front of several kneeling cast members and deliver an enormous monologue that Robert generally wrote. I think we might have had 3 words in there.
Took some words out.
Yeah, that's the general. But I think they might be in the Blu-ray.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so he had to do this giant speech in front of these actors that were so incredible, that were crying. They weren't even on camera. And I think after one of those first takes, I saw Greg's face, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's one of them. Cool. I'm going to go back to that other thing I have to do. So does that check out? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have an amazing cast, as you guys all know and cheered for. Probably one of the most welcoming. You know, when Jeffrey came on set, he had 12 pages of dialogue. And he, you know, our actors, I know when Cudlitz and Christian and Alana, and they all came on the show, and Josh, they had watched the show and were fans of the show before. So it's fun for me to watch the new actors come on set and they'll see Andy in costume and be like, oh wait, that's Rick Grimes right there. I gotta do this with him.
I do that every morning.
You do that every day. So for Jeffrey, you know, Jeffrey was very welcomed into the fold and was just delighted to be here. And then he picked up a baseball bat, and it all changed.
Everyone was friends up until that moment.
Yes.
Robert, you helped create this character. What about Jeffrey's performance is the most gratifying, and what has surprised you the most about what he's brought to Negan?
I think the thing that's the most impressive about what it is that he does is that he is this horrible person and he is doing this horrible thing to characters that we love, but he has this spark to him that's really engaging and really entertaining and really welcoming. He's so, the thing with Negan that I always wanted to accomplish, especially in the comics, is like he's so likable, you know, like he's personable and sorry, whatever. But he does horrible things that you don't like, but at the end of the day, you're like, that thing he said was kind of cool, and that one thing kind of made sense, and he's kind of got a point about that other thing. Geez, I don't want to like this guy. And Jeffrey portrayed that so well. There's a warmth to him while he's doing absolutely horrific things that you want to hate him for. And I don't know how he pulls that off. It's absolute magic to watch him do it. Yeah, he's great.
I want to ask you and Mr. Alpert here, in terms of the comic, I mean, you're seeing one thing in black and white in drawing, and then when you see it in color, it's so vivid and so bigger
Shocking?
than, yes.
Sure.
I mean, what do you say about the contrast between what you see on the page and then what you're seeing on the screen?
I mean, honestly, for those instances, you really have to hand it to Greg. I mean, we do the comic book, and Charlie Adlard, the artist in the comic, portrays these very grisly, very heartbreaking scenes. And when it comes time to adapt them, you know, whether I'm on set or watching dailies or seeing cuts, I always think like, oh yeah, we're getting to that one bit, you know, like I've seen that. That was like 10 years ago, and then it happens, and it's so affecting. Like seeing it in 3 dimensions, seeing it come to life is always unnerving for me, even though sometimes I'm not really expecting it, just because the work you know, that you guys do is so amazing, and the level of craft that's brought to it every time, the level of detail to these heartbreaking, horrible things that we don't want to happen is always just so masterful that you know, it shouldn't take me off guard, but it does, and I think that's important to telling the character's stories. If you don't feel those emotions, if you don't get that gut punch from seeing those things, the show doesn't work. And that all comes down to, you know, Greg's mastery and the team at K&B being able to, you know, add that element in and bring those scenes together so that you know, recognize the gravity of the situation at all times.
You know, I remember sitting at Comic-Con between Robert and Steven when I opened issue 100 and saw that panel of Glenn screaming Maggie's name with the eyeball, and it haunted me. I mean,
You've already seen it. There's no spoilers.
She hasn't seen it yet. No, but I mean, it's.
You love that eyeball.
Thank you
It's-
for
it's-
saying that, but
just an
it really is
eye-oriented
it
accident.
really is the situations and the things that just it broke my heart when I saw that, and I was like, God, I hate to imagine the guy that has to shoot that scene, and I had even no idea that a couple years later I would be the guy doing it. So, oops. So it really is. When you read the comic book and you see the panels, you know, and the panels I remember, it's like Shane being shot by Carl and Lori being killed by the governor holding Judith, and that panel, those are the things that haunted me. So it's a tribute to what you guys initially concocted. We get to realize it, and with Steven, who's a brilliant performer, we were able to cultivate the good or bad things about it and bring it to life. And I remember shooting the monitor of one particular take of Steven, and I sent it to Robert, and he just wrote back, "You're fucked up." And I wrote back, "I didn't do it, you did it."
But no, the best thing about that is I'm at dinner with my family and I just get a text and it's just like, oh, there's an eyeball hanging out and the head smashed in and it's a guy I know, you know, that I'm friendly with. Like I love Steven, and so it's like, oh, Greg, he sends me photos of my dead friends at random. You know? My kid's sitting next to me, I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, but even more unnerving in that setting.
I think one of the great things for me is to see sort of there's like a familial rivalry that goes on where I feel like Robert will sometimes be like, yeah, I'm gonna put this character out there. He says the F word pretty much every other word. I want to see what Scott does with that. I'm gonna give this guy a tiger. Yeah, Greg. Good luck with a tiger. And I'm gonna.
And we pulled it off.
And you pulled it off, and then but like literally, there's this constant one-upsmanship, and
Sorry, guys.
I think it's the thing that keeps the show fresh.
No apologies.
No apologies. No apologies. Season 8. But I think the main thing for us is really like seeing how we continually raise the bar. And honestly, I think a lot of people loved what happened at the end of last season in terms of the tension and drama that it portrayed. A lot of people sort of were really sort of engaged and upset about sort of how that unfolded. But the idea that you're constantly pushing and doing things that haven't been done in television before, I think that's the thing that makes, honestly, from Scott, Robert, the entire cast, and Greg, I mean, really, it's the thing that makes me most proud to be associated with the show.
Austin, I want to talk to you about Dwight.
Uh-oh.
He's done some pretty horrific things, particularly to our good friend Daryl, but yet you made us feel such empathy and sympathy for him during that episode where you're going after your wife and you see the letter that she reads.
Right.
And you conveyed that with such little dialogue. You did it all with your face. I was just wondering what it was like to get into the decent side of Dwight.
Refreshing. Yeah, I mean, when I first got that script, it was just like I felt a reprieve because most of the time I'm kind of popping out behind trees and murdering people or shooting your favorite character. And so yeah, to get like, to just sort of peel the layer back on them and go, oh, great, people are going to get to see what he truly cares about and what he's fighting for was exciting, you know?
Is there redemption for him, do you think?
I hope so. That would be great, yeah.
That would be
Read a comic.
I didn't want to spoil it, but
Maybe not.
Seth, Father Gilliam has had a really
Father
interesting-
Gilliam?
I mean, Father Gabriel.
That sounds like a cool show.
Father Gabriel has had a really interesting arc ever since coming on the show, and now he seems to be sort of a voice of calm and spirituality in the midst of all this mayhem, and he's even got a badass side of him holding a blade up to one of the scavengers. What has it been like portraying this guy?
First of all, I want to start off by saying that I love Father Gabriel. I love that he's a man who's, you know, who didn't live up to his idea of himself, you know, and has to face that every day. And I think, and I think his journey on this show is fantastic. That he's had an opportunity to try to, in some way, make up for it. You know, you can't go back and redo the past and correct your mistakes, but you can learn from them. They tell me all the time as you move forward. And I think that Father Gabriel is trying to do that. And so I think everything that he is about right now is trying to prove that he is present, that he is there, that he will be accountable for his actions moving forward, that he's not going to shrink from whatever is thrust in front of him. Whether he is up to the task or not, he's not going to shrink from it. So I think that's a very interesting and, you know, and fascinating thing to watch, because I think we all have ideas about what we would be like in a situation, and then the situation happens, and sometimes we don't, you know, fill out our ideas of ourselves, you know, and then going back and trying to reconcile that, you know, with ourselves in the mirror, you know, when we're alone. I think that's what Father Gabriel is going through, and you know, I'm excited for where he ends up. I think that, you know, I think it's a fascinating journey.
Love Father Gillian.
Christian, you've really shown a fierce side of Rosita this season. Who's not going to let anything get in her way. How much are you like her? Are you a lot like her? Are you a little like Rosita?
You thought that's what I was going to get at?
Totally thought that's what you were going to get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning from her. I think she has a lot of really great things to teach me. She's remarkably brave, and we're seeing that this season. She, you know, all these people we consider our family. You watch them on TV, and you bring them into your home, and they become your family. We're a family. So watching them go through something traumatic is terrible, but she experienced that trauma, and we're seeing the repercussions of that. And what I love about the show is that no two people can experience trauma the same way. And she's a little sharp, and I love that about her. And I love seeing her become vulnerable when she does. But she's still always true and honest to who she is, which is a little rougher around the edges. It's not always pretty, but I think that's reality, and that's her humanity, is that she's not perfect.
You're so good at that. Really. One of the best episodes this season was Swear, where you got to shoot, run, fight, do everything so physical, and you had just had I think you had just had a baby after doing that episode. What was that experience like doing running around?
Scott and I had breakfast, and he said, "Oh, you're coming back in episode 6, and it's all you." And I was like, "Oh, this is really great for Tara. I'm really excited for her to get, you know, a storyline." And then I was reading it, and I was like, "Does he know that I just had a baby? I'm doing what?" And then what was really cool about the episode is Mike Satrazemis, who's our DP, also directed it. So it was awesome to have someone who I trusted. And we just went for it. I mean, he's like, "You want to fall off a bridge?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And you know, "You want to run on burning hot cars? Just don't step on the windshield or you'll break your leg." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So for me, I felt like it was Tara's time to sort of shine, and I love her, and I love playing her, and I think she's got a lot of heart, and I hope she's, you know, holding the torch for Glenn.
Ross, it's so nice to see you not getting beat out. You've got such a quiet dignity as Aaron, but yet Aaron is becoming more and more determined, it seems like. He knows that this world, you've got to deal with it in a certain way, and he's all ready for it and ready to follow Rick.
I don't know why people are laughing. But...
It's because he said quiet dignity. That's why they're laughing.
Is it fun playing Aaron? Is it fun getting into this guy?
It's amazing. I think, like Greg was saying, I was a fan of the show right when it first aired, that first Halloween episode in 2010. And to go from being a fan, watching it, and then being a part of it has been the greatest joy, And what I like about Aaron is that he's gone from this very diplomatic, he chooses his words very carefully. He's very eloquent and he does so, and it's served him well in his years in the NGO before the apocalypse began. And now he's seeing this breakdown of society and he's still trying to maintain that dignity, like you said. But it's not working with the saviors. It's not working at all. That diplomacy does not work. And I think he's finally realizing that if he's going to fight with Rick and the gang in a real way, he has to put some of that diplomacy aside and actually pick up arms and fight.
Josh, you are so amazing as Eugene.
I'm Negan. Didn't get the memo, I guess.
That's what I want to ask you about. When you say you're utterly stone cold Negan, is that what? Are you really Negan, or do you have something else planned? And how much of this is attached to the fact that Rosita called you a coward and other people have called you a coward?
You did?
Always, all day.
I can't read, so I don't read the scripts. The way I look at it with Eugene is I don't really feel like he's playing a game. He's out for himself. He's trying to protect himself. I told Scott early on when I read I'm Negan, I went, oh shit. Please don't tell me what's gonna happen, because I don't want to know. I'll start playing that in that direction or whatever, because I feel like in the conversations that we were having is like Eugene is scared and simmer down. I'm a bit jumpy. The fact that he's scared, and a lot of this fear is coming from this man Negan. And so he's out looking for himself. Like, I don't think this is as much of, I'm gonna turn my back on my friends and I hate them, I'm totally Negan now. He's trying to protect himself, and why not align yourself with the man who's causing the most fear in your life? That's how I look at it. It's not a matter of, can he help out Rick and the gang? It's how can I continue to survive? Because we've seen, since the time we've seen him on the show, introduced, we've seen him adapt and change, which he was talking about that in season 6 with Abraham. He was saying, to get to the next level, you have to change and adapt in order to become that survivor. And he felt like that's who he was in that world that they didn't know about Negan at that point. Now that Negan's been introduced, he's had to change and adapt again. We may see him change and adapt again if he continues to live on in the series. We don't know. That's just how he survives. He lies and he manipulates, and he's like a cockroach, man. He's still around.
Lauren, I continue. I continue to be blown away by your portrayal of Maggie, because she's had so much horrible stuff happen in her life, losing her husband, losing her sister, losing her father, but yet it seems like each loss makes her stronger. And now she just seems like she's getting even more strength and determination. And you've been with this show for so long. What is it like to just personify that kind of spirit and just determination in Maggie?
I think that the only way she can comprehend these things happening is that she's now come to understand it's not about it's not about any of us as individuals. It's about them as a whole and them as a greater good and them persevering because they're still standing and because what other reason would there be to experience such loss but to have life inside of you and to know that you still have to live for that and you still have to. It came up in the episode with Rick and Michonne's Bonnie and Clyde episode. I was thinking about it. You know, it's not about, by the way, sorry, it's just like I had so much fun watching. But it's just, we're just pieces in this puzzle now. And I think that when you still have light to share and you still have a flame to pass the next torch on, that's just who you are and that's what you have to do. And they're still all alive in her. I think that that's what, the more people she loses, the stronger the fire burns in her to share it and to spread it and to help strengthen everybody else she's with. And it's just, I think that's where she takes all of her strength, is knowing that it's just this one, we are just one. We are family, we are, there's just no delineation between us as survivors. But I just came here to find out what he's up to, because I wanted to know what this meeting was about too.
Moving on to Tom. Jesus is, first of all, you're playing a guy named Jesus, so that's going to be incredible. But you know, Jesus is also playing a really pivotal role in getting this group back together. One big dysfunctional family. You've shown incredible bravery by going into the sanctuary and finding out information that's going to help them. How fun has it been playing Jesus?
It's a lot of fun. I never, you know, walking down the street and having people whisper Jesus as you walk by is incredibly bizarre. It's Jesus, it's Jesus. It's like, it's pretty funny. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, you know, you get to join a TV show where you're jumping around kicking zombies in the face, and I didn't even know I could grow a beard, and here I am. So, it's a whole new experience.
Damn good looking too.
As far as the show goes, and his role in the show, he's kind of crapped out a couple of times. He's taken Rick's group to 2 different places, and neither of those places have really worked out. But he's trying, you know, he's trying to do the best that he can. He's been on his own a lot. You know, the guys, which you may discover more about him as the show goes on, but he spent a lot of time on his own, and he lives at the hilltop, but actually he's kind of outside. But with the arrival of Maggie and Sasha and Enid, he sees the opportunity for like a real human relationship with someone that he can empathize with and have contact with, because at the moment it's just Gregory, and that's not going to work out. And actually even Gregory said to him, though, you should become a part of this place, and he hasn't really seen a way that he could do that. And with the arrival of these 2, he feels like actually there's a future here for me. And with his connection with Rick's group and everyone that he's meeting along the way, I think he's, in this grim world, kind of excited about his progression and then how he can better himself through other people, through meeting other people and becoming a better person. He tries the best that he can in every situation, but he's not a leader, and he needs someone to follow. And I think he sees that in Maggie and is willing to help her out in any way he can. And cool. Kicking zombies in the face is a good start.
Shaniqua, you are so incredible. As Sasha, who's also experienced such incredible loss, but yet you have this inner strength that's really grown, and you see this Maggie who you really want to take care of, but yet you've got your eyes set on the prize.
Absolutely.
How has it been since starting? You were starting as a recurring character, and now you're really a big part of this group.
Oh, it's. I mean, what is it if not a miracle? You know, just to be a part of this experience, this world, this story, this family, this extended family. You know, we're all in this together, and yeah, right. And you know, it's like all of our hearts are beating as one. You know, over this beautiful thing. You know, it's like a fire that we're all gathered around, and it's been truly phenomenal to get deeper and deeper into the story as I've been, you know, on the show. I've loved. Thank you for what I have been able to go through as Sasha. You know, I really appreciate everything that's happened to me as Sasha, all of the loss and what I've gained from it. And I actually, my best friend said something to me earlier today. She said that as my worldview was small, I found that my opinions were very big. But as I expanded my worldview, my opinion got smaller. And I feel like, in a sense, that's what's happening with every right? I was like, yes, that's some spiritual truth right there. And I feel like that's what's happening with everyone, you know, at this time. It's like, you know, just like you just said, like Rick said, you know, this is not about us anymore. This is about the future. And I said it to Abraham way back when. I said, this is living. You know, doing something as big as this. And it's really beautiful to see what everyone is doing, how everyone is translating that into their actions and into their lives. And for me as Sasha, I feel that all roads have led here, where it is not about me anymore. It's not about me pursuing my own safety or my own survival. It's about solidifying the future that we can create because we're leaders, you know.
You know, there was an amazing moment when we were shooting the first episode. You know, so often you think about the tragic moments. You think about Glenn, you think about Abraham. But for me, the heart of that episode and the heart of the show is the morning after. And the morning after, when the smoke clears and Maggie stands up on her weak legs and she walks towards Glenn. And I remember doing the first edit of that episode and thinking about how it played out. And the deaths were brutal and swift, and they felt unnecessary, and they felt violent, and people were taken away from us. But it was the morning after, and it was what these guys did. And I felt, and I still feel, that one of the greatest moments of the entire season for me was the moment where Christian walks over to Sonequa and kneels down and says, I'm going to take him with me. And they're talking about Abraham, and the look on these two exquisite actresses' faces, it was anguish and power and pain and sorrow and love, all at the exact same moment. And I cut the episode together, and I cried when I saw it, and I cried when I watched it, and I thought, that's what The Walking Dead is about. It's about the power between these people and what they do. And Christian and Sonequa so beautifully personified the loss of what we felt in that episode. So there's so many people that talked about the brutality of it. It was the morning after, and it was that sense of loss. And every time I look at these two actresses, I remember that moment, and I feel honored that they were able to bring that beauty to the show, because that really is what the heart of The Walking Dead is about. So to me, true.
Thank you, Greg.
I'm just saying the truth. It's all true.
Melissa, you are also. It is. It is so. It is. It is so good to see.
Negan's. Sorry. That's a great name.
We're used to seeing Carol as a warrior. She lost her faith. She got a little broken. She's coming back. And obviously, one of the high points of the season was your reunion with Daryl. What is it about you and Norman that clicks so much? What do you think that people really see in that?
You know what? I have no idea. I have no idea. I just don't know. No, Norman and I have a good time together too, and Can I just say real quick? I've never sat this close to you before. Ever? Yeah, you're stunning. You're pretty. Oh my God. You're absolutely stunning. I'm sorry. She is too.
Anyway, what is it easier to play Carol as a badass or Carol as someone who
An ass.
is struggling with her faith?
Gosh, I don't. Badass is really hard for me to wrap my head around because I don't feel like I played her as a badass. She just does badassy things. So, and I like that. I like that.
But you,
And
oh, go ahead.
the other part was, or the Carol that's lost her faith.
Right.
Yeah, I like that too. Carol's a mess. Carol's a mess. She's a lot of fun to play.
It's a lot of fun to play. And you found so many layers in her all through the series, and it's just so wonderful to see.
Yes, she surprises me. Scott Gimple surprises me.
There's a number of the writers out in the audience as well. They surprise you as well.
The writers, yes, of course they do.
Mr. Lincoln. I have.
Oh my God, they're all the way up there. They're all the way up there.
I have always been such in awe of your performance since the beginning of the series, but what you did at the opening of the season when you played Rick as a broken, shattered man was a performance that I think was beyond anything I've ever seen. It was just, it was. I've never seen a performer go that deep. And what did you have to do to play Rick so broken, so shattered, so empty?
It was probably, it was a pretty miserable day at the office, really. I don't really know. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? It's very difficult to sort of explain, you know, what we do when you have to do something like that. But it was the scene with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I just thought, I've just lost two really good friends of mine who have left the show forever. My mum really wants me to nail this scene. I think it was basically the fear of fear of my mother's wrath, actually, that sort of that gave that capacity. No, I mean, I just thought it was such a brave thing to do, to smash a hero, an archetype. I don't think, you see a lot of shows and they kind of do, oh, he's the anti-hero, he's that, and they never deviate. It was a very sort of scary thing to do, and I thought, well, if we're going to do it, I'm going to do it with everything I have and be a shame-free zone. So I just thought, well, but I do want to say that everybody down this line does the same thing. It was just that I had to sort of gut myself. I was just thinking when Melissa was answering her question, is that the first time I worked with Melissa McBride, it was a Steadicam shot at the camp in season 1, and I walked around and she'd been sort of ironing my clothes like this, and I'd been sort of working with not amazing actors up until this point, and you said one thing, and I just remember going, who the fuck is that? and John Bernthal looked at me and went, I know. And then also with Father Gillingham. I like to...
Coming Tuesdays on ABC.
Father Gillingham down there. I'm a producer. I've never seen a more committed performance. He went full snot.
Doing jumping jacks.
In the wide. In the wide shot. No one goes full snot in the wide. I've never seen anything in my 24 years of acting, and Stephen Yeun stood next to me. I went, "You're witnessing history, Stephen. No one goes full snot in the wide." So I am not alone in full commitment on this show.
You guys are all working in Atlanta and all this.
I heard that. Yeah.
You guys are all working down in Atlanta in just these incredible heated conditions and away from everything. What is it getting easier, getting used to the heat and
No.
I mean, what is the experience like? Is it just really difficult conditions?
My first episode on the show, I was running around a field in the midday sun in a leather coat and a beanie. And a wig and a fake beard. And it was like they're actively trying to kill me. And I'm just incredibly, and I think we all are, very, very good at finding shade, basically. But you just drink water throughout the entire day and accept that that's your life. I put my costume on in the morning and I go, this is my life for the next 12 hours. And after cut, I fling my arms back and the costume assistant comes in and rips my coat off me every take. Because it's just like, it's like self-preservation.
There might be a scene where we'll block it and all the actors will end up in the shade during the scene. You're like, wow, I don't remember you standing over there. Like, yeah, but it's way cooler over here than it is over there.
I managed to find a chair in any scene.
Every scene she's sitting.
Something.
I'm like, how did she find a chair? We're in the middle of nowhere.
And the chair's not there in the wide shot. In the close-up, the chair miraculously appears.
I actually don't find it that hot because I'm wearing shorts.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Good.
Knew it served a purpose. I thought it was just because I was supposed to look stupid. I didn't let those legs breathe.
We're getting close to the season finale, and I think we can pretty much determine that there's going to be blood. Talk to us about where the series is going and where you see the series going at this point.
How does it end?
We're just racing each other now.
I'm winning.
Episode 801, the first episode of season 8, is going to be the 100th episode of The Walking Dead. The first episode is I think less about that we reached 100 episodes. It's more about setting up the next 100 episodes.
Just look down.
It really, it focuses on Eugene's shorts.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be about, the end of this season is very much the end of a chapter. It's very much a conclusion that promises this epic story ahead. And the first episode of season 8, man, it's just when you're working on it, sometimes you feel the eyes of people over your shoulder, and now I'm looking at all of you.
Do I have any?
We're just doing it right now, but it's about setting up this gigantic epic tale to come, not only in season 8, but beyond.
Cool. So we're going to open it up for a Q&A. There are people out in the...
Yeah, all the way up there.
There are people with mics, so please, before speaking, please wait until the mic gets to you. The young lady standing up back there.
I just wanted to say I love and respect you guys so much. So happy to be talking to you right now. My question is for the beautiful Lauren. Hi. I wanted to ask, after what happened to Glenn, why do you feel, or were you surprised that audiences loved Negan so much after what he was able to do? I mean, did it kind of amaze you at first, his popularity?
I was burning inside while I heard Robert talk about how charming and likable he is. I have to be honest. It bugs me. It bugs me. Yeah, it bugs me. I don't have anything else to say. Yeah, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so I get it. But Negan.
This is for Seth Gilliam. You've worked with zombies and werewolves. What's the next supernatural entity you'd like to work with? Personally or professionally?
I'm a big science fiction fan. I'd like to do some kind of project with aliens of some kind. I think aliens would be cool.
That's Father
Alien
Alien.
werewolf zombies might be really, really fascinating.
Space preacher.
Space preacher.
Space Gilliam.
Space creatures.
Yeah.
Fuck you, man. I didn't even...
Father Gilliam.
Wait a minute. So hold on. So
Dibs on Father Gilliam, Space Preacher.
I was watching Starship Troopers, and Seth is in that movie.
Yeah.
So you already did a space creature. I was watching it with my kids, and they're like, Dad, Seth is in this movie. I had seen it 100 times and never realized it, but so you already killed a bunch of bugs.
Seth was the massive hero at the end of that. Sugar
That's
Watkins blew up the entire bug colony, yes. But I never actually got to work with the aliens. It was Phil Tippett's crew, and they had all these animatronic things. So I never had that, that Jodie Foster moment.
You want real aliens?
You want real, yeah.
Yeah, real aliens.
Talking actual, right. We don't talk about that in public.
Try not to, without the medication, yes.
What was it like to shoot the scene, the honeymoon episode with Denai, with it being such... a feel of what we're used to with TWD? And was it like a calm before the storm type thing?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was amazing to work, and it has been since the get-go with Denai. She's such a shame she's not here. She's such an incredible, bright, brilliant, beautiful actress, and she's so committed to this role. And to explore that part, they pull, you know, so many different qualities out of each other. You know, and that episode was just weird, actually. to be laughing and to be smiling and to be so joyous. We did shoot quite a lot of. I don't watch the show, so I don't know what made the cut. But we sort of improvised a few of the scenes in the van. If you know what I'm talking about. I thought they went rather well.
Good.
Should see the footage.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will see that footage. Norman kept texting me, asking me how it was going.
Yeah, Norman is so weird. Every time I think he just gets envious of our bromance or something like that. But then I get envious about him and Carol, so, you know, it's the same.
Hey, first and foremost, I wanted to thank Mr. Kirkman and the guitar and the rest of the producers for bringing it. One of the main reasons I watch is because of Glenn, and you represented the Asian community. Hey, Josh. My question for Andrew and the rest of the cast, if you had the opportunity to write and direct, let's say the final episode or scene, no matter how outrageous it is, how would you envision your character ending the scene in the final episode?
Go for Andy. What?
I believe
Greg,
that's the
help us.
cast. But,
Andy, you answer.
I got one.
Okay.
I got one.
But this was to you.
Hold on, I'll write it down.
Is it this? I'm going to say this now, and this is how I want Rick to die. This is how I'm going to do it. Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear it? I was going to say it anyway. So we're going through a desert somewhere, and I jump off the bus. I'm telling it, I'm saying it. He likes it. I said it in Madrid, and he went, don't tell anybody, because it's good. So in a very heroic act, Rick jumps off, Carls in the... He's still alive. Don't worry about Carl, him. And maybe that's the last thing I say. Anyway, I jump off, and I'm like kung fu kicking, all the, you know, earn my action figure, right? Halfway through, I get bit. Ow! Doesn't matter. Keep going, Carl. They've gone. Tracks through the desert. High shot. Beautiful. High shot. Anyway, deal with that stuff. You know, and I'm dying on my own. On my own, just waiting to die. And then I wait and I patch up, and then a day passes.
You patch up.
I patch myself up, man. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivalist.
Okay.
Anyway, I patch myself up. I don't die. Final shot is, holy shit, maybe I'm the cure. Final shot of the whole thing. High shot. Herd of zombies coming. Rick gets up, follows the tracks to go see Carl. High shot like this. Walking, the herd comes towards him, and they separate. He walks through. Boom! Can I go now?
I just want to say that was cute.
If I could, I would do all that, and then Eugene comes in a dune buggy and runs over Rick.
And then glitter comes out.
What?
And then glitter comes out.
Glitter
I have
comes
to
out.
say, Michael Cudlitz said it on, it was Larry King. And y'all, it's pretty brilliant. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about? It's pretty brilliant, you guys. I gotta speak on behalf of him because he said, how about like last shot, last everything, whoever's there, you know, we get to the coast and you pan out and you see all these ships blockading. And what you find out is that it's just America.
Nope. Nice try.
That's why we had to kill Abraham.
Because he knew.
Because he knew.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Right.
The young woman back there.
I'm very nervous. Oh my God. So this question is for beautiful Melissa McBride. All right, let's see if this comes out good. I just want to know how proud you are and how you would describe how much your character has grown since season 1. I mean, I really want to hear what you think about your own character from season 1 all the way to now.
I'm so proud of Carol. I'm thrilled for this character, and I love the mess that she's in right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's nothing compared to what she came from. If she could withstand that, and still she's learning from where she was. You know, any bad thing that happens that you can't learn from it and do better going forward is a missed opportunity. And I think she's realizing that, and she's taking what she knows and moving forward. And it's okay to be in a mess when your mind is in a mess. And I am proud of her for that, and I do admire that in her. And just, I think, being more honest with herself and not just being the people pleaser, you know? Here, let me make some cookies. Here, let me go. Here, let me go spy on these people. Here, let me, yeah. No, I gotta go work things out. Bye.
Thank you, I love you.
More complicated than that, but yeah, I'm proud. We should do that girl right there. She's
Young lady on the aisle over here.
Hi. I'm excited. About like the dream thing Andrew was saying, like I heard a conspiracy. What if like all of this was just Rick in the hospital from season 1? What is your thought?
I really would be very upset if that was.
Me too.
I'd have words.
As well you should.
Nope. Are you dressed as Negan?
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm the elephant in the room.
That's amazing.
Hi, like, I just gotta say, all of you guys are like my favorite, the cast out of all of the shows. So I just gotta say, you know, guys, thank you so much for making such an incredible show. And my question anyways, my question is for Andrew Lincoln. I mean, like, you know how the beginning of the season, Rick was broken down, like we've never seen him before. And, you know, Michonne, throughout the whole season, she was the one that was, you know, your light, kind of. And, like, do you think that without Michonne, you would have been able to come back as, you know, the Rick of old, you know, under, like, the dictatorship, the one that...
I like to think it's more of a rickocracy. I just made that up. I don't like the cock bit, but I like the bits either side of it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I actually just flew in last night. My body is here, but my head is in Alaska. So, yes, I agree. I think that the story, certainly my character arc this season was a man who'd been completely diminished, humiliated, and succumbed to the big bad wolf, you know, this new guy, this new kid on the block. Am I allowed to say a band name like this? Kind of, yeah, I've said it. But certainly Michonne is the key. I mean, the thing I love about playing this guy is that he's always been able to, you know, he's been beaten down onto the canvas so many times, and he keeps pulling himself up, generally for other people. This is the first time he hasn't done that, and he's needed a helping hand, and she is the absolute key in his return.
This question, well, first, I'm really nervous. This question is for Andrew. Do you think Rick and Michonne will, like, ever have a baby since... I want to know.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to repopulate the world, so... I wish Denai was here. Could stop asking me questions. There's loads of lovely people. Yes,
what about the rest of the
definitely.
cast? Do you
Yes.
guys think that Rick and Michonne will ever have a kid?
What? What was that?
I mean, the rest of you guys, do you guys think that Rick and Michonne?
I mean, we all saw that episode, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're down for that.
What?
Yeah. We're all the way down for that.
I wish we didn't have to wrap this up, but
No, let's
I am
stay.
so...
Let's have a sleepover.
I want to thank you all for coming. I'm so honored and humbled to